Hey everyone, welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the Going Solo with Cece show, and I am Cece Shatz, the host of the wonderful show, which I absolutely love. Those of you that don't know, WGSN-DB Going Solo Network is a radio, TV, and podcast station. We are the #1 internet singles talk, and what we try to do is really bring you great shows that you can really home in on, that can shift your life a little bit, right? Make it to the positive. So if you guys want to reach out to me, my email is goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. Our website that has everything on it for the singles is goingsolonetwork.com. And then also our radio and TV station is right up here, goingsolomedia.com. So anything that says Going Solo, I'm a part of. So that's the way it works here. But let's get on with business. We have got a wonderful guest tonight. I'm really excited to bring him forward. We have Seth Pearson. Seth, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, Cece, I am so stoked to be on today. This is a real treat. We're going to be talking about some juicy stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that because we are always into some fun things. But you're considered, our topic tonight is going to be self-love, and you're considered the love warrior. So tell us a little bit about that, Seth. Like, what got you into being the love warrior?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And in the realm, it's like love warrior, self-love warrior. It's about, for me, coming from a place of discover that I need to heal myself first in order to help heal the world. And that I fully believe that self-love can have the ability to solve all of the world's problems. And I first discovered this when I was 20, when I experienced self-love and inner peace for the first time. It was actually the first time that I tried and used the substance Mdma. Now, those that don't know this, they might have heard of the term ecstasy. And so Mdma is the pure form of this substance. And part of what it does is it increases empathy. And not only in empathy for others, but also empathy for oneself. Currently, it's being used to study, to help with people that are experiencing PTSD, and being used in therapy to help people heal from those past traumatic experiences. So that was the one of the first moments where I discovered what it was like to experience in myself. And this was during one of the hardest times in my life. It was college. I was depressed. I was terrified of going into the workplace and potentially not getting a job. I thought everyone was like going to be smarter than me, was going to turn out more successful, all that stuff. And what I continued to develop and learn throughout my early 20s was just figuring out how to have like a standard life that I was proud of. And what I realized is once I was out in the world and I had a job, I was doing fine. Like I got a job a month after I graduated, and I wasn't happy. Like I wasn't finding that fulfillment and that spark that I was looking for. I kept looking for it externally. I would maybe think if I got a different job, or if once I had a partner, or once I had potentially even like a new car, like, all that classic stuff just wasn't working. And it was once I was 24 that I discovered within myself that I didn't think of myself as a man. Like, and not in the sense of, whoa, I think maybe there's like a woman in me that's like trying to come out, and I need to like potentially like transform my physical appearance and my chemistry, all that stuff. It was more of, I was a boy trying to find mature masculinity, and I just didn't know how to do it because I didn't even realize that I didn't actually have that many male figures in my life that I looked up to. And so it it was this beautiful synchronicity of a moment in my life when I met this incredible man named Ken Bonnet Jr. when I was at Burning Man 2016. And it was right at this moment in my life where I came to this discovery, and it turned out that this man knew and was a part of and a co-lead in this organization called the Mankind Project. And the whole point of the organization is to create mature masculinity and redefine what it is to be a man in the 21st century. And from then on, it was continuing to build myself up and find the worthiness within myself in order to continue to make an impact. So that's kind of that initial background of where it comes from. And then life did not stop there. It continued on to show me that I'm here right now to spread the message of self-love. I have lost my mother to cancer and suicide. Through my first partnership, there was so much self-sabotage and like kind of symptoms of experiencing someone else that didn't love themselves. I like learned that no matter how much that love that I pour into someone, that if they're not going to be able to do the work themselves and that they're not committed to loving themselves fully, it's not going to work out. And it's one of...
Right. You're so right with that. And let me please express our sympathies on the loss of your mom and what you have experienced, because it's tough at your age, young age, to really go through all that you're going through, not, like you said, not having, a male influence in your life. And I think too, Seth, there's so many out there like you, that because we're in an age now where divorce is prevalent. There's single moms out there trying to raise their boys, trying to do a good job, and they don't have the male influence a lot. And so I really think that what you're trying to get out and show everyone about self-love is truly vital. I mean, it's definitely vital. So let's talk a little bit about maybe, like, as your journey went, what did you find, and that would give our audience some tips. What would you find would be helpful to really start homing in on, yourself? Because we don't do that. None of us do that. We focus so much on other people. We don't focus on what's really good for us.
Absolutely. And yeah, I hear that. And I hear that there are like single moms out there, like raising children, and that it's even those out there, you that are listening right now, that might be struggling with self-love and learning how to take care of yourself first. So here's going to be like a few, some information and some tools about self-love that can be really, really beneficial and was really huge for me when I learned about these things. So just kind of, what are some of the reasons for loving yourself, like outright? Like, there's research done, and I want to give a shout out to Kristen Neff, that has done a lot of research on self-compassion. She shows that those that are more self-compassionate are more desirable partners, just outright. Just that they're more understanding, more forgiving, better communicators, better at compromising, and actually are able to give more, like provide more, because they're taking care of themselves. And so something that people ask me said, well, what is self-love? Like, what is the tangible kind of experience of that? Mm-hmm. So there's kind of 3 ingredients, starting with self-cherishment, being able to look at yourself and hold yourself as your own child almost. Like I have conversations with myself where I say, ooh, Seth, my little guy, like, I love you and I see what's going on with you. And I like hear that you're struggling and you're having a tough moment. And just know that like I love you unconditionally. It's coming from that place of where, say, the inner critic comes in and starts bashing on you, that you're able to meet that critic and say, hey, like, I see you, inner critic, and not right now. Not for our little Seth here. Like, not for our little one. And so being able to take that is a huge like a huge experience, like in a huge step of the process. The second step is to understand that in order to have self-love, we must experience shared humanity, must be able to recognize that we are human and all humans experience these types of challenges, that you are not alone in the experience that you're having, that it might be kind of, in a way, its own flavor, its own kind of unique spice to that type of experience that you're having, and you're not alone, which takes away the isolation, takes away the shame, and then it also takes away just this ability that it's not going to be fixable. Like, it's not going to be able to find solutions within it. Mm-hmm. And then finally, the third thing is to bring presence, because when we're not present, like, we are avoiding, we're distracting ourselves, and we're numbing out. So it's important to actually be present with like what is happening internally, because when we are people pleasing out there, we are not present with our own experience. We're completely ignoring what is the truth of our own experience and just letting other people run the show. And it's nothing against them. It has everything to do with yourself.
Right. And wouldn't you say that's kind of like setting boundaries for yourself, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Boundary settings, communicating needs and wants is absolutely vital. Being able to understand and recognize what is a need, and like what is a true boundary? What is like a no, like that's not acceptable. Mm-hmm. Because when we are doing things out of obligation instead of free choice, then everyone freaking loses. Mm-hmm. Because it's no longer attached to the truth or giving from the heart.
Right. I agree with that. You know, it's funny because I'll just share with you that the other day there was I was talking to someone and they had expressed the fact that, you know, they're dating and everything, and they're kind of easygoing about certain things. It, you know, they don't really care where they go to dinner or where they do anything, but if they do care, they will mention it, you know. And mm-hmm. their potential partner had said, well, you know, you don't, you know, you're not he's used to having someone that is kind of demanding, you know. And I think the reality is that person has self-love because they're not demanding. They pick and choose what it is that is important to them. And that's what they then make verbal or do. So wouldn't you say that that is something that there's a fine line between, you know, being good to yourself and having self-care and being demanding to other people? Wouldn't you say there is a line there?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of as I was sharing that people generally, from the research speaking, that those that love themselves are more kind of compromising and communicative in relationships. And as I was saying about the needs, like that those needs and wants will be requested, like they will be communicated, that there will be less conflict avoidance, that there is just like with the kind of compromise of like being easygoing, mm-hmm. is because that person is meeting so many of their needs themselves and is purely there to enjoy the company of someone else.
Oh, very good. Yeah, that's very well put. That's true. That's very true. And I think if you are like demanding and you want this and you want that, are you really wanting it because of something that you need, or is it something you're just doing because that's what you think you're supposed to do, you know?
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times when we're building relationships, that's one of the problems I'm seeing in dating, is that, you know, people are being very demanding because that's what they think they're supposed to do, you know. Well, you know, I'm going to wait till so long to call you, and I'm going to do this, and you know, why? You know, if you like somebody and you want to call them, call them. I mean, why are you putting these rules and these regulations on things, you know?
Mhm. And if there's it's almost like, it sounds like some of your clients have their own preferences
Mhm.
that they're not communicating.
Yeah.
That there can be agreements. Like, something that I've done is create a relationship agreement document. And this doesn't have to be like some really like militaristic kind of document. It's can be
Yeah,
also very like,
finger, put the book on.
yeah, it can be really colorful and fun, and also have like really also specific things that people want. And if there's something around, how often can I call you? How often can I message you? That it's like, just ask,
Yeah,
saying, I would
communicate.
love to be able to call you once a day for even 10 minutes. Just like, make that request. Say, I notice that when I'm able to talk to you for, say, 10 minutes a day, whether we see each other in person or not, that I'm really happy, that it brings me a lot of joy. Are you open to doing that? And then that takes away the demand. That's not now a request. The importance of the request versus the demand is that a request, someone can say yes or no, and demand, someone says no to it, then there's like, whoa, like the hammer's thrown down. And I think the thing about people, my little inclination here is
Mhm.
that those that are more demanding in relationships haven't experienced relationships with people that are understanding, that like they think that they have to demand something in order to get it, because someone in their previous version of their life was not compassionate towards their wants and needs.
Very good. Very. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, it's really truly about communication, and on any level, in any kind of relationship. It's not, if something bothers you, then you definitely need to express it. If you want something, you need to express. How's somebody gonna know if you don't express yourself? And you can do it in, like you said, in a kind way. You did it in a very nice way, you know, about the phone call and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want somebody to say, hey, you know, it brings me joy to talk to you once a day, can we do that? I mean, I would like,
Yeah,
okay, sure.
yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds great. I would,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
hearing that request from someone would be so exciting, to be like, wow, that really lights you up. That's great to hear from that. Like,
yeah.
great to
And
hear
it's
that.
from both ends, because it's like, if it brings that person joy, and then it would bring you joy to talk to them, thinking that they are being happy when you're talking to each other. So it's a
Mhm,
very positive way of looking at
mhm.
things. So yeah, I can definitely see where you are the love warrior for sure. So who
Thank you.
gave you that name, the love warrior? Did
Oh, okay. So I mean, just to clarify too, it's I consider myself a self-love warrior,
oh, it's
and I would say, I mean, I gave myself that name. I mean, through the Mankind Project, going through their New Warrior training adventure, I was given kind of this element to myself. I experienced my warrior. I like know how to harness it, and kind of the changing the reframing of what a warrior is, and bringing self-love to the world, like in the way that I do, like very courageously and bravely, through those that look at more of my kind of content later. You'll see, like, I am out there, like I am doing this. And so it's like I'm truly like bringing self-love in this warrioristic way, where I'm confronting conflict, um, my community, in if anyone asks me about, well, Seth, what do you think about like what's going on in, say, like a, I don't know, a worldwide topic? It's like, well, I'll give you the view from the place of self-love and how that would help this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I think that we need more self-love. And the more, I really truly believe that the more we love ourselves, the more outward that will project. And I think you've said it many times in your work. And I know you have like a YouTube channel, right? You're on YouTube.
Mhm.
You've got a podcast, loveamped.com.
Mhm.
You can go to your website and see that. So but yeah, I think it's love. It's like it says, you're host of Love Amped Podcast. That's the name of it. Let me put it up here. And you're
Yeah.
also a life coach. So you help those and you specialize in self-love, power, and financial abundance. And then we were talking off camera a little
Mhm.
bit, and you had mentioned psychedelics too. So let's
Yes.
let's save that though, because we got to go a quick break. And when we come back, let's talk a little
Right.
bit about that, because I said, ooh, psychedelics like in the 60s. So let's see. Maybe I can relate to some of it, but we'll see.
Absolutely. I can't wait to talk about it.
It'll be a lot of fun. So just stick around here, Seth, and be with us here. We appreciate it. And we'll be right back. We're just going to show this video real quick.
Well, that was exciting.
Yeah, welcome back. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing great. I was just enjoying those little tunes. I was just,
Yeah.
ooh,
Well,
do
that's
do do do. Whoa.
I know a lot of fun stuff that we do. So everyone, you guys are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. You're on the Going Solo with Cece. I'm Cece Shatz, a Doyenne of Relationship Building. I have a wonderful guest here with me tonight. We're talking about self-love with Seth Pearson. He is the self-love warrior. And we learned a lot at the very beginning of the first part of the show about self-love, your journey, what you got into that. So we're going to talk a little bit now on this one about what we had said. You're a life coach and you specialize in self-love, power, and financial abundance. And I like that because, those are really all the things everybody wants. We want all of that. We want to have self-love. We want to feel good about ourselves. We want to feel like we've got some sort of power in our life, right?
Mhm.
That we're just not blowing in the wind and trying to
Mhm.
figure it out. And we all need some sort of financial abundance because we can't live without that. And then we had talked about off camera psychedelics. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So share with us a little bit more about, about your life and what you're doing here with this.
Yeah, so in the realm of how psychedelics have worked into all of this, as I mentioned, doing MDMA for the first time when I was 20 was one of the biggest moments in my life and one of my awakenings. And I never stopped talking about it after that day. Here we are 9 years later, still talking about it. Um, and since then, of course, there's been so many other really important moments. And I want to, especially with there being a lot of single people out there and people that are going through potentially tough relationship moments, is that MDMA in particular, especially done with a significant other or someone who you've been dating for 6 months or a year, can be an incredibly bonding experience when done in a very intentional way. And personally, in my experiences, coupled with the research that I've looked at, that it can be really beautiful in healing any issues that I or you are experiencing with your partner, because the empathy and compassion is magnified during that experience, and the amygdala, which can cause the fear response, especially when responding to trauma, that it can lessen that effect. And so the ability to be able to hear each other like so clearly and see each other so clearly is absolutely heightened, and can be such a transformative experience. It can be straight up like 6+ months of therapy in one night.
So is this a drug that you're talking about taking?
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
And so does this have to be prescribed, this drug?
So there are it's in stage 3 trials right now, through the research that MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. So they do have participants, and they are administering them through there. And of course, kind of what I'm referencing to right now is that there are other ways of acquiring this, and one has to be quite creative in order to make it happen. And I believe in you, those out there. Yeah, and of course, like, putting safety is number one. Being able to make sure these substances are coming from a good place. There are test kits available. Part of another aspect of my journey with this is I've actually been a part of Zendo, which is a psychedelic peer support group that travels to events like Burning Man, Envision Festival in Costa Rica. I volunteered with them for actually 2 Burning Mans, 2017 and 2018, and had beautiful experiences there, helping people through potentially their first time on LSD. They had a little more MDMA than that is normally recommended, or someone that had almost an ounce of psychedelic mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms to be specific.
Yeah. Well, I know that was very popular, back in the 60s. I'm sure the other people are still doing it now, but Seth, I can't personally myself, I unless it's prescribed by a doctor, I can't myself, I can't think that it's the right thing to do. Because I don't know really anything about it. And so I don't want to say anything negative or positive with regards to medication, and then getting medication that's, all like on street market or something like that. Again, like you had said, you want to be safe and things like that. So, I'm gonna be reserved with regards to that. But I do feel that you're on the right track with self-love, with focusing on one's needs, desires, and, really trying to empower themselves, not listening to that negative voice in our head, that we
Mhm.
have. And so I think that's definitely important. And, and I love what you say with regards to, helping other people and moving forward in life. I just worry a little bit about, drugs, because I don't know if it could become a habit forming, lead to other things, abuse of some sort, those kind of things. Sometimes I
Can I speak to
wonder.
one of that?
Yeah,
To
go
that?
ahead, please.
Yeah. So there's this. I'd speak to two things.
Yeah, please.
One is prescription medication, say SSRIs or anti-anxiety. These prescriptions, from the many stories, like of course the people that I'm connected to are connected to this research directly. Like the people, my friends are the people that are helping MAPS run these trials and are doing these kind of like forward-thinking studies and stuff. And so they're also connected to the kind of like traditional Western medical realm as well. Know a lot of doctors, like standard or naturopath, and even these doctors that I'm talking to that came from a place of prescribing SSRIs, anti-anxiety. These have been proven to just not be the answer for a majority of people where there are actually underlying issues within oneself that need to be worked through. And that's like how it works back to self-love and being able to love yourself. Like, I am not someone that's on any type of medication. And I was at one point when I was 20 thinking about getting on SSRIs. And when I talked about that first partner that I had that had a hard time loving herself, she was on SSRIs. A previous partner or person that I was dating, like she was on SSRIs. And what these things did, what I saw happen was that emotions were being repressed and they were being held down. They were like the sadness. I would see the moment where I was like, oh my gosh, this is like some sadness that's like connected to childhood. And she's like ready to like release it. And then it would just be like, like start to come out and be processed. But like the SSRIs, and my mom was on anti-anxiety. My mom was on this one called lorazepam, and because of how it was used, it wasn't even used how the manufacturer prescribes it, but it was prescribed even longer and was part of the reason she went into psychosis. And so like when I was talking earlier about this graph of like which substances are harmful, you'll see that MDMA, LSD, psilocybin, these ones that I've mentioned, have very low health impact when used responsibly. Even when, say, something like psilocybin, like a dose is used that's more than like the kind of like known recommended amount, is actually not going to be that actually dangerous. Of course, it might send someone to like a really like tough experience that they're not fully like ready to kind of integrate into their life. Absolutely. Right. And like, I believe that they're going to be able to make it through just fine, and probably for the better in the end. And so I like, it's like, I'm never going to be one to say like, oh yeah, I recommend this to you, because of course the legal ramifications of that don't feel great. Yeah. And I just want to bring awareness that there's a lot of things that are used and prescribed that are like normal, that are actually doing more damage than good.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And there's a lot of people that are on, anxiety medicine and all of that. They go through and they're really having a hard time. And so it's nice to hear that there are maybe an alternative, and that there's extensive research that's being done on this.
Mhm.
So, we'll kind of leave it at that. But I do feel that it is important for us to look at all avenues, what's good for us, get professional advice, and then go from there. And I again, like I said, and I'll say it again, I feel like what you're doing, and you're talking with regards to self-love, self-empowerment, financial abundance, helping people, being a coach, and helping those really look within themselves, because all our answers are there, aren't they? They're
Absolutely.
all there.
Absolutely. Every time that I return to myself in a tough moment and find the answer within and fully like follow through and speak it and act from that place, that's where the magic has happened every time. That's where I find my courage within myself.
Yeah. So I think you're doing a great job. Oh, I'm sorry. I do apologize. I thought I turned it on, but I think what you're doing is really a great thing. I think it's very needed in our society today, especially with everything that we're going through this past year. I think people are really needing some sort of lift,
Yeah, the what's amazing about self-love is that it's actually a way of feeling even more connected to people, even when technically not around others.
Mhm.
Like there's this idea that when we're alone, we're alone. And as I talked about shared humanity, we're never alone in our experience. We are always belonging somewhere. And if people look at my website, loveamp.com, check out the coaching session and see the testimonials, like you will see that these people have made huge transformations from working together. And really, from what I've seen, is people, when they work with me, they're committed to working on themselves. And there is nothing sexier than someone working on themselves when it comes to picking partners. Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Yeah, you're so right. Tell us a little bit about this online course that you have, Blast into Self-Love.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I would love to talk about this. So it's called Blast into Self-Love, and it's because it's a crash course into self-love. It's the tools and the aspects of life that I've applied to myself. Like I even talk about the power of improv and how improv can be one of the best things that you develop within yourself in order to like be more courageous in any moment, to be able to speak your truth in every moment, especially those that are seeking more leadership in their life. Gotta learn how to improvise, gotta be able to see a situation how it is exactly, and then be able to improve upon it, and actually apply your imagination, your thoughts, your brilliance, and bring it into light. And so it's over 100 videos. It's over 100 videos, my friend. And those that work with me one-on-one get access to it for free for a lifetime. So that's something also to consider. And it's a real treat, and it was so much fun to make. I love recording videos and being able to provide people with amazing tools to create the self-love warrior within yourself, and not create, but find it. Just find that self-love warrior within yourself.
Yeah, that is great. So everyone, his website is love, LOVE, amped, AMPED.com. So you want to look that up. Well, the show is getting close to ending here, and I just want to see if there's any last words you'd like to share with our audience, Seth.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that the reason that I think that if everyone loved themselves, that the world's challenges would melt away, is because the more that I've loved myself, that I've found more inner peace within myself, that there's less conflict with myself, that I have less conflict with others. out in the world, and that I find that worthiness and act upon it every single day. And I think there's an element of the world's problems out there where it's a lot of people trying to prove themselves, and their negative egos are running the show versus their positive ego. And so for those of you that feel like, gosh, self-love sounds impossible, it's something that can be learned and nurtured and developed within yourself. And feel free to reach out to me and schedule even just a 15-minute free call to see how that can be done for you.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much. Again, his website is loveamped.com, loveamped.com. So please reach out to him. He's got this wonderful course, online course, Blast into Self-Love. You know, he's a life coach, really helping those, you know, improve their self-love, self-power, and financial abundance. So you're the self-love warrior, and that is truly something we need. That we definitely need to hear from someone that is so positive and uplifting, Seth. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on, Cece. It's been a blast, and I know that there's someone out there that just absolutely felt connected to what was spoken, and so thank you for creating this channel and doing these amazing interviews with people, helping those out there.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's a joy to talk to you, and I'm just very inspired by you. So thank you again for sharing your journey and helping those, you know, travel through some of this dark time in our lives, you know, really building them up and making them, you know, get tapped into who they really are, which is probably an awesome individual indeed. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Well, gosh, everyone, the time went by very, very quickly. We had wonderful guest Seth Pearson. And again, he is a life coach. He specializes in self-love, self-empowerment, financial abundance. He has a great online course, Blast into Self-Love. And then also his website. You can find everything right there. It's loveamped.com. So please reach out to him. He was great being on the show, and we love having him. He's you know, it's great to see young people. You know, I say young people because I feel like I'm getting a little bit older, but it's great to see someone that really is tapping into who they are and walking the walk, you know, and we all need to do that, don't we? So let's do it right here on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are the #1 radio, TV, and podcast station. We are a singles talk network, and I am Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of Relationship Building. You've been listening to Going Solo with Cece. Catch all of our information right there on goingsolomedia.com. You can reach out to me on goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. And of course, all of our singles information is on goingsolonetwork.com. My email is goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. So we get it a little bit confused. But anyhow, love you guys. Thank you so much. And please reach out to Seth Pearson. He was a great guy and shared a lot with us. And I hope that you felt that, you know, you could really home in on your own self-care. So love you. Talk to you next time. Bye.